Here we go. Here we go. And welcome to the program, folks. You're listening to Common Sense Radio on the Lanterns Radio Network. So glad to have you here. It's been a great week. It's been a week for my birthday, spending it with you guys and girls. I'm not gender specific, and it's been a news cycle that has been nuts. Been nuts. Anyways. I got my Coors Light, and I'm ready to be here with you. It's July 2nd, 2 days before Independence Day. One of the greatest documents ever signed in Declaration of Independence. 242nd anniversary. Man! Every time I think back to that, I think of my service that I provided to this nation, and it doesn't go unnoticed by a lot of you. Doesn't go unnoticed to a new sponsor of our program. It's and if you can see, what I'm starting to do is a little video that I'm going to put out Monday, a couple hours before the show comes. It's a plaque that my friend made me. Beal's Custom Woodworking and Laser Engraving. And it has the Navy seal on it. It has my name, my job, or MOS. We called him rate in the Navy. Operations Specialist, 3rd Class Petty Officer, 2004 to 2008, and served honorably. And I'm going to post some pictures up on the Common Sense page. But, man, he's a brand new sponsor of the program. He wanted me to share this with you all. I mean, this is fantastic. If you're in the military or know someone, these are just wonderful. Reach out to me via social media on the Common Sense page or however, and I can get you hooked up with Brandon over at the Woodworking and Engraving. I mean, it's just wonderful. So let's start with Wednesday of last week. June 27th, the Supreme Court, I mean, it's been a week of just Supreme Court, protest, because that's what we're going to cover tonight. We got the Janus, which I think everybody is missing, is the absolute most important case that the Supreme Court heard this cycle. I also have a montage that I created that you folks are going to love. On this weekend of protest. And there's a very interesting tweet by Planned Parenthood and Democratic Socialists of America out of New York that I can't wait to share with you. That's some people are saying this is Democratic Party's campaign slogan for the midterms. It doesn't matter. They're all in bed together. And then our last segment, we're going to cover abolish ICE. Abolish ICE. And I've got some audio clips from Senator Gillibrand that are just going to make your jaw drop. So anyways, Mark Janus is a plaintiff in the court case versus AFSCME. It's basically the Americans Federations of county employees, state employees, blah blah this, blah blah that. Well, Mark is a government employee in the state of Illinois, which, if you listen to this show on a regular basis over the last year, timeout side note, July 6th I will be 1 year with Lantern. So woo, yeah! You never know, but there might be a special video that comes out that I haven't decided. I even took the day off from work. That's how important it is to me. Anyways, as you've heard many pundits talk about, Illinois is in a state of decline financially. Their pensions are out of control. Chicago public schools are out of control. I mean, it's just progressive policy after progressive policy that are trying to bankrupt that state. And a state like this doesn't go to these financial situations overnight. And as the Washington Post is reported as Sunday, early Sunday, and the article's titled "Why I Took My Case Over Forced Union Dues to the Supreme Court." And me personally, I have a dog in this fight. I have some skin in this game. I am a public employee union. Well, I wouldn't say member. I am a public employee fee payer. I like that. I like that. So he was sick of paying the mandatory fee that unions force, and like me, I hate paying the $86 a month to this union that I'm part of that doesn't represent what I stand for, doesn't represent what I want, and I'm more than glad to speak on my own behalf, because I can tell you the only one that can speak on my behalf is myself and God. Okay? That's it. That's it. I mean, if you just look back within the last year, Illinois would be the first state to get its credit rating downgraded to junk status. I mean, that was what people were talking about. That's what they were thinking. I mean, and a lot of the municipal employees, union lobby, were advocating to raise taxes. I mean, there's 35,000 state employees. And an average 1.6 million per state employee with their benefits, pension. And this is reported by the Illinois Policy Institute. So Mark is just kind of like me. I'm someone that is willing to switch my pension over to a 401k so I can manage it. I can be aggressive. I can be less aggressive. I can add more of what I want to. Okay? I'm in Oregon. The state of Oregon is already in a heck of a disaster for budget-wise the next biennium. I mean, that's what Kate Brown and Newt Bueller, Kate Brown's our current governor, and Newt Bueller's state legislature, got the Republican nominee, that's what they're battling over. Oh, friend of Common Sense Radio, Representative Julie Parrish, has introduced bills to make public employees pay more to their retirement, pay more for their health insurance. My hand's up. I'm all for it. We can't continue down this path. We can't keep kicking the buck down the road. And being who I am, I will fight the fight. I'm right here at first. I want to be the first one in line to do this. But back to this article. He quote Mark is, "I would gladly forego my annual raise because it's more important to me that the state gets its financial house in order. I would happily have my pension converted into a 401k instead of piling more obligation onto bankrupt pension fund. But I haven't had a choice about either of these, and I've been forced to pay for a private organization that I don't want to be a member of to negotiate for things I don't believe in." End quote. And like I just told you, that's exactly how I feel. But this is what the union would tell me, and this is what the union has told Mark. Union leaders said, if I did have a choice, quit my job. Agree with the union or quit my job as a government worker. Think about that for a minute. To be a government worker, you have to agree with and fund a private organization you disagree with. You are forced to contribute to mandatory fees. How does that sound like? How does that sound legitimate? I mean, how does that sound in your head reasonable? I mean, I've got to drink to that. I mean, people are going back to I believe it's the Boot case, and they're trying to say this is settled, 1977. Why are government unions so cozy with the government? Because the forced union dues, the mandatory union dues. When I was hired, I was not into politics. I didn't know. I was a young buck. It was 9 years ago. So I was 25. I was a baby still. Knew nothing about what was going on in life. Oh, condition of your employment is paying these union dues, is how I understood it. Oh, okay. Knew nothing about a union. Nothing. I grew up in Virginia, as you know. And oh, it's amazing to me. And whenever I started getting in political, and look at me now, 8 years later, or no, 9 years later, I'm July 27th will be 9 years. I'm part of the so quote unquote media. I hate to use that term, but I'm here reporting. That I call myself a reporter, an independent reporter who works for Lanterns. But to me, it's so important that people have the freedom. If you want to join a union, join a union. Public employee unions membership has to be opt-in. That's not with the ruling. It has to be opt-in. It shouldn't be you have to be forced to opt out, because that's so easy to slide under the rug so people can't realize. I'm over at the ChicagoTribune.com with another article that I just found fascinating. 5 things to know about Illinois state government employee Mark Janus and his Supreme Court victory. You know, they want to talk about him a little bit. You know, he's 65 years old, so he had nothing to lose. You know, I'm willing to be the scapegoat if I had to in the state of Oregon. I know my wife completely doesn't want me to, but I'm willing to for the greater good of everybody, because this was a very important decision. Unions have a grip on a flow each year. I mean, look at the state of Illinois. 35,000 people are paying their union dues each month, mandatory. I'd like to see how many people would like to pay those after this case and when they're not forced to. So why did he sue? Well, I mean, that's pretty. I mean, I don't even have to look at the article. I could tell you right off. These are bullet points right off the top of my head. Why he sued? Because he wants his First Amendment freedom to be able to spend his money where he wants and not support something, be forced to support something, and membership to something that he does not believe in. And I agree with that 100%. So what does politics have to do with it? It has everything to do with politics. I mean, big labor is funding a lot of politicians. I mean, it's case closed. I mean, that's not up for debate. They are an arm of the Democratic Party. You know it, and I know it. Actually, I would say more the Progressive Party, and it's not good. It's absolutely not good. Let me tell you a little example of people that I know that have been in a situation where the union is representing them in situations, and they're going in and talking about a situation, and the union person is so in bed with management, with the company or the public employee, that where the public employee works, that the union rep sits there like a lapdog. Okay? And these reps get paid, anywhere from $80,000 to $90,000 a year, but they only need one in their area. So, say for instance, you're representing different municipalities in the area. Say unions for city of this, city of that, city of that. I mean, that's one rep for that area that could cover half of the state. So those dues are going to one person to represent them. And that's where the agency fee had came up a lot. I saw over the weekend about, okay, well, shouldn't these people that are these public employees be forced to pay these agencies fees for the collective bargaining, for representation, and on and on and on? Well, I can tell you 2 things. The representation, BS. Okay, I talked to a guy that I knew before he passed away, a really close friend of mine, and he was in a union, and he got a piece of metal in his eye and ended up losing it, and he got in trouble and all that. But before that, he had many violations of not wearing his eye protection, and that ultimately did him in with his eye. He didn't die because of that. He passed away for something else. But he said he went to a discipline meeting with a union rep, a Teamster union rep, and management went to pull out the papers, and the union rep went across the table, grabbed it, and said, "Give me that bleep paper." And the people on the other side of the table looked at him like he was nuts, and it ended it. In the climax that we live in right now, the climate, not the climax, sorry, not a little naughty there, but the climate that we live in right now, the political correctness, impossible to do that. We live in such a world that we can't offend people that you could never do anything like that. And collective bargaining, usually when these unions go up to speak, not speak, but negotiate to about collective bargaining, they do it every 2 to 3 years. I mean, some do it even longer, you know. From my experience, it's been 2 or 3 years. So, I mean, yeah, they need a little bit of sources, but the amount of money that they're getting each year, I mean, you times 35,000. Just say, here, I'm going to pull up my nifty calculator on my computer. Just give me a second. And let's just say he's saying $45. Let's round it up to 50. 50 times 35,000. I give a few. That's $1.7 million for the one union each year in the state of Illinois. You can't operate off $1.7 million to collective for bargaining to represent. I mean, you have an employee that you pay, say, $80,000 a year. So, say you have 5 that you pay $80,000 a year. That's $400,000. And you still got $1.3 million left? Come on, man. Come on, man. This is crazy. Sorry, like I said, I have a skin in this game, and it has me fired up. All this talk about people saying, "Oh, they're so anti-union." Well, no. The unions have made people anti-union. How many people want to be part of something that's mandatory that you have to pay? If you didn't have to pay property tax, would you pay them? No. If you didn't have to go to the DMV and pay your mandatory registration fees, would you pay them? If it was optional? Come on, man. Yeah. Jeez. And I'll finish up the Chicago Tribune article. Is Janice anti-union? In his testimonial published on a website part of the Liberty Justice Center, Janice said he doesn't consider himself to be anti-union. I'm not anti-union either. He goes on to say, quote, "I don't begrudge anyone who wants to form a union or be part of a union," end quote. He wrote, quote, "But what is unfair and unconstitutional is forcing me and millions of other American workers to pay to advance policies we oppose just so we can serve our communities and our state," end quote. I agree 100%. So I have this montage that I'm going to play for you, and it's fantastic. I'm going to share it cut out and put on its own MP3 so it's easily shareable. Just go ahead and take a listen to this. It's incredible. And for you guys that are watching this video, let me know how you like it. This is something new that I just was going to try. And thanks a bunch for tuning in. You'll have to check us out on Spreaker.com/Common Sense Radio. God bless.